Let's get physical. It's Jordan here, back again with this week's update on all the physical releases coming to the Nintendo Switch. This week's cutoff points are the 2nd of December until the 5th of December, Monday to Friday, week 1 of December. As always, we're taking a look at all the physical retail releases, all the low print games up for order, some juicy inputs, plus our spotlight section where we choose one game at random from our collection to show off to you guys. Remember, if you want the series to keep going, leave us a comment with what's taking your fancy this week. What are you playing in your backlog, and what is the most recent addition to your collection? This week, I picked up SD Gundam G Generation Cross Rays, a glorious anime strategy game similar to the Super Robot Wars style of game. My review should be out by now if you fancy checking it out, although I can't promise you won't immediately run out and buy it. Sadly, my copy of Final Fantasy 7 and 8 double pack didn't quite arrive in time for this week's episode. It's supposed to arrive tomorrow, but it will definitely be in next week's episode, and I can't wait to show it off. Anyways, that's what I've added. How about you? Let us know and leave a thumbs up. These videos don't get too many views, but we know that you hardcore fans love it, so be sure to show it by sharing it around, perhaps in collectors groups like on Facebook or Twitter, Reddit, and so on. It would really help the series out to keep pushing it onwards. Alright, let's get on with it. Assassin's Creed Rebel Collection is coming this week. 2 games in one package, the highly regarded Assassin's Creed Black Flag, together with the often forgotten Assassin's Creed Rogue. It's worth noting that Black Flag and all its DLC is on the cartridge, while Rogue is a download requirement. Sadly, both games are not on one cartridge. I'm sure it would have been possible if they really wanted it to be, but those profit margins must be watched by Ubisoft. Have you played either of these before? I own Black Flag on the Wii U, but I've never actually played it, it's just in my collection, and I've never owned Rogue or even played it or even know anyone who has played it. Anyone have opinions on it? Let us know. The 5th and final Dungeons & Dragons inspired classic roleplay is finally getting a release this week. Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition is following on from 2 previous double packs of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and Icewind Dale and Planescape Torment. This is a sole release this time, but still carries a lot of weight as a classic PC game. Personally, I have no idea about this, but from what I've heard, it's a legendary game that hopefully turns out nice on the Nintendo Switch. Anyone picking this up? Also, did you pick up the other 2 packages? I wonder how well they did after the initial hype. I haven't seen many people talking about them. Farming Simulator 20 is releasing this week, featuring a new North American environment where you can enjoy many exciting farming activities, including new machinery and crops with cotton and oats, which are new to the Nintendo Switch. You can tend to your livestock of pigs, cows and sheep, and now ride your own horse, letting you explore the vast land around your farm in a brand new way. With over 100 legit farming vehicles and tools, this looks to be the biggest and best real-life farming simulator that the console has to offer. Well, until the next one, of course. Despite constant vagueness about Funbox Media's release dates, I have it on good authority that Junior League Sports 3-in-1 collection is releasing this week, in Europe at least. I'm guessing not on North American soil just yet, since Funbox Media rarely release over there. But anyways, you're looking at 3 sports: soccer, basketball, and hockey. Yep, 66% of this collection are North American centric sports in this European only release. I find that mildly amusing. Also, I could be wrong, but I think this might actually be a HD port of an original Wii game. It's a bit of a late one, this announcement, but it seems that Walmart in America have started selling a Ubisoft bundle, Starlink and Mario and Rabbids in one collection for a very tasty price. $30 for 2 of the best games on the system. Really good value. I just thought I'd mention it. Hero Land Noble Edition is releasing in North America this week thanks to Exceed. Apparently it's a highly customizable RPG, choosing what your party does and when they do it, customizing strategies and weapons and so on. It promises a unique and entertaining quest that has got my attention from the art style alone. Another seeming North American exclusive releasing this week is Wakkaku Sweets. This was already a potential import from Asian regions due to that older release already having English on the cartridge, but now this is a much more convenient way for Americans to get their hands on this cutesy looking cooking game. I guess Cooking Mama would be an adequate comparison. I don't know. Looks like it could be a decent Christmas prezi for a younger girl in the family, although if I'm being honest with myself, I kind of want it. If you're in Europe and you fancy it, then there will also be some import links below for you guys. Not sure if this one is getting a European release or not. A little bit of an uncertainty is, well, I'm not convinced at all, but we'll see. Offroad Racing is perhaps releasing this week in Europe. Another Microids uncertainty. They told me it released last month, but of course it hasn't turned up. Although a few places on the internet are stating that it might be this week. We shall see. Could be interesting enough. Any other publisher, I might be a little bit worried, but Microids usually pull something at least decent out of the bag with their products. Before we get into today's low print games, just a reminder that if you're new here, hit that subscribe button for all our awesome weekly content like this one, bargains, as well as a healthy dollop of all the latest Switch reviews. Plus, you'll be in with a chance of winning a Nintendo Switch Lite and a copy of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening once we hit 50,000 subscribers. So it could be you guys. We can do it. Come on. Okay, let's move on to the low print games. After last week's low print madness, it's obviously going to be a slightly subdued week this time. Soon after last week's episode went live, Limited Run Games announced yet another Switch game, this time Divinity Original Sin 2. While I'm not in the business of these types of games, something tells me that this release may be one of Limited Run's biggest yet. I'm pretty sure it will be ordered more than the average smaller retail release. While it may not be available in stores, I'm sure this isn't actually going to be limited. Pre-orders for this one commence on the 6th of December. Before we get into the imports, if you want to support the show and buy your games at the same time, we have affiliate links for every game talked about here: Amazon US, Amazon UK, and Play Asia for these upcoming imports. They're currently having a Black Friday sale that's worth a look if you've had your eye on something. So yeah, if you're going to buy games anyways, consider helping us out with these links. They really help us out massively to keep improving the show for you guys. Plus, a heads up in case you missed it, last week I put together a list of the best Switch imports of this year, 2019. After this video, check that out if you're interested in the import scene. Anyways, let's delve into the imports. Is it wrong to try to pick up Girls in a Dungeon? Released in Japan last week, as I mentioned, but this week it's releasing in other Asian regions, this time with English on the cartridge. Hopefully I can get my hands on this mystery dungeon style game for you guys to see how it is. Who knows, maybe by the time this video goes out, I'll already have it. But information is so scarce that I know a lot of people are wanting to know all about it. It's going to be a massively busy period for us, but I'll try my best for you guys to get a review out. Motto, new PUZZ OSOMATSU-SAN, SHINPIN, SOTSUGYOU, KEIKAKU. I'm really sorry. It's a match 3 puzzle game with more separate collector's editions than I don't even understand what on earth is going on. It has a story mode, which is always cool for a puzzle game, but that's all I can really say about it. The fact that there are 6 collector's editions of differing colors, each having a different acrylic stand, diorama, outer box, and background cards, I just have no idea. Just click the links below and see the madness for yourself. Pretty Princess Magical Coordinate looks to be a party game, dress-up game mix for girls of a younger age group, promising being able to decorate castle rooms with over 1,300 items. Customize your princess, plus take some pictures. Looks like it could be a great one for the kids. Sadly, it doesn't seem to have English. Yokai Watch 4++ is an updated version of Yokai Watch 4 with more characters, a new battle system, improved graphics, several new and returning yokai, and so on. I'm more curious if the already announced Western release of Yokai Watch 4 will be this updated version or not. No English for this import as far as I'm aware. And that's about it for imports this week, only one that I would suggest actually importing. How about you? Alright, this week's Spotlight game, where I choose a random game in my collection to show off, big or small. This week it's not so random, since in the comments for last week's episode someone asked me to talk about Has Been Heroes, and I agreed. I thought it was time I would talk about this great game that got 53% on Metacritic. Man, this game is misunderstood. You could probably make a whole video about how this is an underrated gem, and I think most reviewers, including myself initially, just thought it was just unfairly hard. Yes, it's brutal, but it's the kind of action puzzle game that once learned, and once you get into the flow and learn the mechanics, my god, can it be a beautiful thing. I really like Has Been Heroes, and I put around 10 hours into it, but I still didn't get very far due to how tough it is. But because I was learning how to play, and ever so gradually getting better and better at it, it was incredibly addictive. Yes, it's the kind of game that kicks you in the balls, but if you've got about 3 hours to spare to start learning it and look online at how to proceed properly, you'll find out that this is one very misunderstood game. On a side note, as one of the earliest Switch games, the cover is actually so weird compared to most. The spine is a lighter shade, almost orange, with far bolder game text than normal. I was almost convinced at first that I got a reproduction copy or something, but no, it's just an early print and one of the odd ones in the Switch library. And there we have it, guys, all the physical releases coming this week. Eerily quiet, but I guess Black Friday has just ended, and I'm sure there'll be a few more interesting releases next week. Anyways, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, and share the video around, and perhaps use some of our links in the pinned comment and description if you want to buy any games and support the show at the same time. Head over to watch last week's episode if you missed it, plus James's bargains video, and last week I put up a video showing you all the best imports that the Switch has to offer this year. That is definitely well worth a look for you guys, okay? See you over there, take care.